Parents find themselves facing new challenges raising little ones nearly every day. But some challenges are expected and can be planned for, like potty training. Every child has to do it, but convincing them of that is not always easy. KIMT News 3's Matt Bradley ran into that situation himself and sought out some advice in this month's Ages and Stages. Matt.
Thank you, Sarah. Every month in this segment, we try to help parents dealing with the common hurdles that come with raising children. One of the biggest challenges my wife and I have faced so far is potty training. Turns out we need more patience and more persistence. Mark looks like a natural at learning to use the bathroom, but look closer. He's fully clothed. He's happy to pretend to do it, but doing it for real, well, he's just not interested.
Sometimes children are scared of the potty. It's kind of overwhelming. It's kind of large.
The first thing Cody Williams with Turning Leaf Counseling wanted me to know when I asked for some potty training advice was not to get too hung up on how old Mark is.
Most children usually ready about 2.5, 3 years of age.
Good point, but it didn't really help. Mark's going to be 3 in April.
But you should never be really too concerned until they get to the age of 4.
That did help. And so did this, our efforts to make him more comfortable in the bathroom by introducing his favorite characters, Thomas the Tank Engine.
Percy! What's that? James! What's that? Percy!
Always want to see if your child's ready. I mean, that's number one thing. Is your kid ready to actually, is it interested in potty training? Do they grasp the basic concepts of what it is?
Here you go, can you put this on? One problem we ran into with Mark was being a little too eager to push him as soon as he showed interest. We both wanted to get rid of the diapers. He started trying, and then we introduced a huge transition, moving to a new home. That made Mark lose all interest in potty training.
If they're not interested, children are stubborn, and they're not going to do it until they're ready to do it, ultimately.
For us, Cody recommends just starting over, introducing the bathroom before bed, after waking up, 30 minutes after meals, and doing one thing we didn't even think of.
And with girls and boys, we just encourage both of them to sit down at first. Try to get that mastered before you try to have like boys to stand up to urinate.
Cody says if you, like us, run into trouble, just be patient. Let it go for a few days and always keep a positive attitude.
Be excited about it, but don't pressure them to like, oh, you have to do this right now. Just get them in there, get them introduced. One day they just decide, I'm going to do this, and then they're successful.
And since we met with Cody, we are having a bit more success. Mark is more interested and willing to give it a try when we remind him. One thing that's been working for us is using incentives. We'll let him bring in his favorite toy, but Cody warns if you do use incentives, don't let it be food or candy or you'll just introduce a whole new issue.
Matt, I am learning so much from these segments. Well, we also wanted to hear from our Facebook fans for some advice on this issue. Casey says that she used the pull-ups dance as a reward with her daughter, and it worked just like a charm. And Lance has a 26-month-old daughter who is potty trained. He says he just pushed the issue, and now she wakes up dry in the morning. Well, time now for our monthly look at overcoming parenting challenges. We've seen Matt's child, little Mark Bradley, make some big strides over the last couple of months. Now it's time for another familiar face to have his parenting questions answered. Matt Bradley has much more from Studio 3 with this month's Ages and Stages.
Thanks, Sarah. During this segment, we've been focusing on the parenting hurdles my wife and I are running into with our 2-year-old, things like transitioning out of a crib or potty training. But there are other parents here at the station who are finding challenges. You can take our own Adam Frederick, who is introducing us to his young daughter and introducing her to table food.
Let's do a sweet potatoes for lunch today, huh?
Feeding a growing toddler can be a challenge. They have food preferences and they're not afraid to share their opinions.
No.
And sometimes they can be picky, and when they're reaching the stage where they're starting to take table food, it can be hard to know if they're getting all the nutrition they need.
You want some more ham, huh?
And that's the stage KIMT Chief Meteorologist Adam Frederick is reaching with his 16-month-old daughter, Natalie.
I would say start with one food at a time just to see if she likes it.
We asked Alyssa Ryder, a therapeutic dietitian, to sit in on lunchtime and see how successful the Fredericks are being as they convert Natalie to a more grown-up diet.
Is that yummy? Is that nummy?
At 16 months, her diet can start resembling that of the rest of the family, so she can have 3 meals a day and 1 or 2 snacks, just like everyone else.
Adam's biggest concerns include making sure he's feeding Natalie the right things and that she's getting enough of them.
No? Don't want that now?
No.
Yeah, we typically suggest about 4 feedings with dairy, 4 feedings with fruits or vegetables, 2 protein sources for someone around her age.
Alyssa says the amount a child eats isn't usually something to worry about. They're very in tune with their appetite.
The roles of the parent is to buy the food, prepare the food, make the 3 meals a day, have the snacks, but it's really up to the child to decide whether or not she wants to eat, how much she wants to eat.
So as long as she's still saying more food, it's okay at this age to keep giving her more food?
Definitely.
Now, she's loving this ham sandwich, but when Adam tries to add some variety, things change. Natalie's very stubborn when it comes to broccoli and other green-colored foods.
They really respond to your attitude towards food. So if you say, oh, we're having broccoli for dinner tonight, I hate broccoli. Well, she's not even going to want the broccoli. She's already decided she doesn't like it.
What's that?
Grapes.
Good advice and hopefully some help to other parents out there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was so cute.
And one more recommendation. Dairy like milk and yogurt is very good for children, but try to not go over 16 ounces per day or the child will be too full to eat a variety of food. Also, too much dairy could contribute to an iron deficiency.
All right, thanks so much, Matt. And one big issue parents run into is lack of appetite as an infant grows into the toddler stage. That loss of appetite is normal, though, because their growth rate is slowing down. But if a child is picky for weeks on end and it doesn't seem like they're getting enough variety or nutrition in their meals, then it is time to call the pediatrician. The challenges of parenting are never ending. From learning to give them a bath, to changing a diaper, to watching them go away to college. Parents are always learning. And that includes our very own Matt Bradley, who is joining us now in Studio 3 with a new segment we'll be bringing you monthly. It is called Ages and Sages.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. My wife and I became parents nearly 3 years ago. We have an amazing little boy who brings as much joy to our lives as he brings challenges. And we figure many others are going through the same learning experiences as we are. So we decided to see if what we're doing is what the experts would recommend. This month, we're discussing how best to transition a child from a crib into a bed. Mark makes it pretty clear he likes his new toddler bed, but it took a lot of work to get to the point that he's comfortable doing this.
One of the biggest things with transitioning into a bedroom is to make sure that you try to keep the same room that you're transitioning in, simply because that's what they're used to, that's the environment that they like to be in. So,
in addition to having children of his own, Cody Williams owns Turning Leaf Counseling, and he works with families to help them overcome their challenges. So we thought he'd be a good person to give us some feedback on how we've been doing at transitioning Mark into a toddler bed. He timed it out so that when we bought this house and moved, we thought it would be good to just do 2 transitions at once, introduce him to his new room and his new bed at the same time.
Yeah. With little children in anxiety type of situations, it's best to actually use consistency and routine.
Cody also suggests making an event out of the big day.
Invite friends over, invite relatives over, have the child show the room, show their bed and things like that, so they get a lot of pride out of that.
That was our plan too. We took photos that day and they showed just how excited he was at the surprise. Overall, Mark was pretty easy on us. For those not so fortunate, Cody has some advice.
I always tell parents 2 weeks. If you can just muscle through, no sleep, the screaming and yelling for 2 weeks, it'll become a habit and they'll be fine with it.
And Cody suggests waiting until a child is 2 years old before moving out of the crib. By that age, they're developing their cognitive thinking skills and can better understand what you're trying to get them to do and why. He says another way to know when your child is ready is when they start climbing out of the crib on their own.
I don't think Mark's going to be climbing out of that bed. He looked pretty comfortable right there. Well, Cody says, you've had success in transitioning from the crib when a child will sleep in their bed about 80% of the time without a big fight.